stands for vascular. Vascular is everything that has to do with the blood vessels, the little tubes that carries the blood, right? So we are going to talk about the heart and those little vessels, veins, arteries, capillaries that brings blood to and from the heart. Okay? So that is very important for you. So every single time that I use some medical term, I'm going to explain it to you. Because believe it or not, in your national exam, they're going to ask you which of the following terms means heart. But some people, if you don't know it, you're going to start wondering. You know the worst thing that happens when you're taking a test? That you have to guess? Oh my God, look at this A, B, oh no, I'm lost. And you just pick anything that probably kind of remind you of something. Remind you that you have to take the test again, right? Well, I don't want you to think about that. I want you to be comfortable. That said, my God, I know the answer. There is nothing better than to go to a place and know what you're going to be doing there versus I'm lost. And nobody wants to help, right? Okay, so that's the first one. So the heart is a double pump. So what is a pump? Something that...
Can I turn the light off?
The lights?
So I can see the...
Oh, sure.
I got you.
Oh, there is a different... Oh, I understand now. I was like, you know, I understood. Can I turn the lights on? I was like, looking at this thing. I was like, oh, there's another thing? Sure, it's better. So double pump because the heart pumps blood, exerts blood away and within. So that's basically what it is. So take some notes because you want to take this note because I'm going to send you these slides, okay? So whenever you see that is helpful for you, the way that you learn, take these notes. I have no problem with that.
I wanted to ask you, when it says it pumps approximately 7,000 what?
7,000, no. Then it's 5 or so, it means 5 to 6 liters. It's an equivalent. Because some of the exams will ask you how many liters of blood. You have to know how many liters of blood an adult person, later on we're going to talk about that, will kind of circulate continuously through your heart. How much blood passes through your heart in 24 hours? So we have 7,000, but 5 to 6 liters. So that's how an adult volume of blood will be. Like all of us, we have between 6 to 5 liters of blood. Is that understood? Circulated through the heart every single 24 hours. So that's basically what it says right here. The heart and the blood vessels makes up the cardiovascular system. So that explains that the heart means, cardio means heart, and blood vessels means vascular. Is that making it sense? It is easier because if you said vessels, cardio, remember these are medical terms. This is not English. This comes from Latin and Greek. So for that reason, who speaks Latin right here? Oh, you do?
No, sorry.
We might be Latino, but not speaking Latin. Not me, that I'm 98 years old, I know Latin. I mean, my mom knows Latin, but not me. So that's basically what it is. So it's very hard when you don't know it. Okay, so let's talk about these two types of circulation. Remember, the heart has how many pumps? 2 pumps. 2. Right.
I thought you meant how many times did it pump?
No. That will be later on that we're going to talk about that. For now, there are 2 types of circulation. Now, what it says right there is normal heart rate on an adult is 60 to 100 beats per minute. But we will discuss in that later on. To just put it right there because I wanted to see. See, most of the things come like in red. Whatever you see in red means what? It's going to be on the test. Correct. They want you to know, but we're going to be repeating this over and over. One of the things that helps to remember things is repetition. So some of you might say, oh, professor, but you said that already. Yeah, but the more that I say, the more that I see that is written over there, the more that you're going to remember it. Remember, practice makes perfect. The more that we see it, the more that we do it, the better we're supposed to get, right? So that's basically what it is. So we have the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. Remember, the heart has two pumps. We have the right side of the heart and the left side of the heart. Each side of the heart works a little bit different, meaning the blood that is pumped from the right side is different from the blood that is moved from the left side. That's why we have two pumps, because they do two different things. So let's talk about the pulmonary circulation. The first thing that you need to understand, pulmo or pulmonary means pertaining to the lungs. Correct. Remember, in Latin, pulmo means lungs. But even though if we do not speak Latin, some of these terms are very related as a root for English and Spanish and other languages, right? So pulmo, always remember, are the lungs. So what it's trying to tell you right here is that the right side of the heart pumps blood where? To where? To the lungs. Correct. That's how it works. So we have two pumps. One is the right side of the heart. The right side of the heart pump, that blood that enters the right side of the heart is sent to the lungs. Now, what is the purpose of this right side of the heart sending the blood to the lungs? Because, correct, to oxygenate it, because the blood that comes on the right side of the heart doesn't have oxygen. This is the blood that has been used in our body. Every part of our body, every single cell that makes the organs of our body, that blood returns back to the heart, but enters the right side of the heart. Then, from the right side of the heart, this blood is going to be moved to the lungs. And the lungs is in charge of doing the gas exchange. So here, the most important thing that I want you to remember is that the right side of the heart, the blood that runs through the right side of the heart goes to the lungs, but this blood do not contain oxygen. The oxygen has been used already. Think about the right side of the heart as your washing machine. Your washer machine. Is that understood?
Yeah.
What do you put in your washer machine?
Dirty clothes.
Dirty clothes. They are not clean. This is the dirty blood that comes to the right side. And this blood now is going to move through the chambers of the heart, to the blood vessels of the heart, goes to the lungs. And because we breathe in, and when we breathe in, we breathe oxygen. So it's going to go to a place in the lungs where this blood is going to receive oxygen. So that's basically what it is. So what I want you to understand is that the right side of the heart carries the oxygenated blood. D means no. Oxygen. So no oxygen. That's what it says right here. Transport oxygen poor. Because they give you these terms on your exam. Instead of giving you deoxygenated, they might ask you which side of the heart carries the oxygenated or poor, oxygen poor blood. So then you know it's the right side. Then what is it instead that the right side, the blood on the right side of the heart carries? Carbon dioxide, CO2, because CO2 is the waste part of oxygen. After the oxygen is being consumed, I use all the oxygen. What is left? Waste. What is the waste? CO2, carbon dioxide. So the blood on the right side of the heart doesn't contain oxygen, but instead contains the waste of oxygen, which is called carbon dioxide, CO2. Is that understood? Any questions? Now, if we move to the left side of the heart, that's going to be the systemic circulation. Why is the left side of the heart called the systemic circulation? Because this is the side that contains the blood that contains oxygen, and the blood that contains oxygen is going to be distributed through all the cells of our body, the system. Because in order for our cells, our organs, our systems to function, we need oxygen. So blood that doesn't have oxygen enters the right side of the heart, goes to the lung, do the gas exchange, drop carbon dioxide, and take oxygen. Now that blood that has oxygen moves to the left side of the heart. Now from the left side of the heart, it is pumped through all these major vessels to all the cells and the parts of our body. Now, that's how the blood circulates through the heart. And because it has two pumps, because if it was one pump, that would be mixing oxygen and no oxygen, right? No. We have one for the dirty blood, one channel for the clean blood. That's basically how it works. So the right side of the heart, no oxygen. The left side of the heart, oxygen. The right side of the heart is called the pulmonary because it goes to the lungs. And the left side is called the systemic because it's going to distribute blood through the whole system. Easy, right? It's not difficult. But the most important thing is to understand which blood in which side of the heart contains oxygen, which one doesn't. And that's it. That's how I want you to see it. Because if you see it that way, it's going to be a lot easier. Now, let's talk about location and size of the heart. One of the good things about the exam is the answers. So when they ask you, what is the size of the heart? Well, the hearts have sizes, right? Like how many inches, how many centimeters? Yes, but your heart is different than mine. All of you, we are different sizes. Little kids are different sizes. I'm not gonna tell you every single size. In a question for exam, they just wanna make it simple. The size of the heart depends on the size of your fist, your own fist. So my fist is the size of my heart, the closed fist. See, this is the size of my heart. Yours is the size of your heart. So they make it simple. So the answer will be, what is the size of your heart? Don't look for numbers. It says your own closed fist. Okay. So the size of your heart is your own closed fist. It's a lot easier, isn't it? No, it's not, because the heart is not supposed to be that big. Because if the heart goes beyond the size of your fist, now you have an enlarged heart. Now you're having problems. And if it is smaller, now you have problems too. Now we're gonna look for location. Where is exactly the heart located? So most of the time, think about this. This is what we always say. It's on the left side of the chest. And it's true. It is on the left. But there are little parts that goes in the middle. But it is, yes, right there by the middle, by the mediastinum. This is what it's called right here, the breastbone underneath mediastinum, because it's in the middle, in between the two lungs. So that's when you say, okay, middle, right? So no worries about that. Just know what are some of the parts of the heart. That's what I want you to know. So don't worry about much about this, because you see, not even anything is in red. Nothing up there is in red. The only thing that I do want you to remember is the size of the heart. It is your closed or clenched fist. Remember, clench or closed means the same. They just use different terminology. So that's basically what it is. It says right here, the location of the heart is in between the sternum, and the vertebral column. Because here we have the sternum, the breastbone. On the back we have the vertebral column. So it is in between. So these bones protect this very important organ that we have in the chest cavity. So can you imagine if we didn't have all these ribs and these bones right here? Anybody comes with a little something, they will hit our heart, and then we will collapse. Or just playing sport, just doing something, we will collapse, right? So that's basically what it's in between the right and the left lungs. The base lies beneath the second rib. So I have a picture underneath that we're going to look at it when we see the ribs, right? So you see exactly where is the location. So that's basically what it is. Now the apex. The heart has this weird, if you will, position. Remember, usually, in reality, let's say that this is a base. Oh, this is invisible. Let's say that I have a base here, right? I'm not a good drawer. Let's do like this. Okay. So usually this is a base, right? Regular base. So what do we call this part right here? The bottom, the base. What will be this? The top, right? Isn't it that way?
Yeah.
That's not how we see it.
Yeah.
My feet will be my base. My head will be the top, right? The heart doesn't work that way. The heart is upside down. So we call it differently. So the base is right here. In the apex, apex means top. Apex means top. So see right here, the base lies beneath the second rib, which is right here. See, this is where the heart begins. And the apex or tip of the heart lies at the fifth intercostal space, will be right here. How can the base be in the bottom? Why are we using that analogy? Very simple. The part of the heart that does most of the work is right here, because this is the left ventricle. All this is the left ventricle. And the left ventricle is the one that pumps blood from the left side of the heart to the entire body. In order for this pump to pump blood to the top of the head, to the tip of the toes, it had to be very, very strong, don't you think? To pump blood back and forth, so far away from here. From here goes here, and down, and starts cycling. Whereas the other pump, on the right side, it just pumps to the lungs that is right here. One here, the other one here. So that's what's called the apex, because it's located supposedly on the base, but actually is the top of the heart, because it does the hardest, the strongest work of pumping blood to the entire body. Understood? So that's how I want you to understand this. let's look at the picture next. Here. So here is the location of the heart. So look here. This is the heart. This is the right lung. This is the left, the right lung, the left lung. Now look at here. The apex. See the apex? Fifth intercostal space. The base. The base is on top.
That's why our left lung is smaller, right? Because the heart is like
Correct. Because we have two lungs, right? The right and the left. The right has 3 lobes. The left has 2. Why? Because one of the lobes is being the heart is taking the space of one of the lobes of the right or the left side. So that's important to understand that, because sometimes it says, "Oh, I have 2 lobes on my leg, but what happened to the other one? It's missing. Somebody stole it. Did Donald Trump took it away?"
Donald Trump.
No. Everybody is the same. We don't have that 3rd lobe on the second side. And that's another question for your exam. Which of the following lobes, which of the following sides of the heart contains 2 lobes? Or how many lobes does the left side of the heart contains? 2. The right has 3, the left side has 2. But they're not going to ask you why. So that's good. But you know, because the heart is taking place for the 3rd lobe. Is it raining?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just the air conditioning.
No, it's really hard.
Last night did the same. So that's basically what I want you to know. And this is important when we are doing like checking the heart sounds, right? So we know exactly what place are we going to go. So once again, this is the sternum. Remember, the sternum is this breastbone, this big bone that is attached to where the ribs attached to it. That's it. And we have all these to protect all these internal organs. Now, there is a muscle that separates this thoracic cavity. Oh, one more thing. The chest is called the thoracic cavity. Remember, chest, thoracic cavity is where the lungs, where the heart are located. And the vessels that are attached to the heart, right? But one of the things that you need to understand is, during the exam, write this down. Later on, we might see it, maybe not, because I didn't cover those anatomy classes. The diaphragm is the muscle of respiration. So they're going to ask you which muscle separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Then you know that it is the diaphragm. Which muscle separates the thoracic from the abdominal cavity? Remember, this is the thoracic, the chest, and this is the abdominal area underneath. So this is the diaphragm. They can also ask you which is known as the muscle of respiration, the diaphragm. When we breathe, let's say I take a deep breath, right? Like this. Look at me for a second. What happened? See my chest get full of air because my lungs get full of air. The diaphragm moves up. It pushes. That's what's called the muscle of respiration. You know that when people die, when they are in a surgical procedure or after surgical procedure, it's because of the anesthesia. They put too much anesthesia that they paralyze the diaphragm. So when they remove the tubes that they give you respiration, you no longer have air, oxygen going through your lungs, and you have to breathe through your own after the surgical procedure. They disconnect you, you die. Why? The surgical procedure went so well. But the anesthesia now, they put too much anesthesia. Now my muscle is paralyzed, not moving. So I cannot breathe on my own. The person dies. So once again, which is known as the muscle of respiration? The diaphragm. What is the muscle that is located or separates the chest cavity of the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity called? The same. The diaphragm. These are key questions for exam, always. And I will ask you, when I give you that exam that you're gonna respond it at home, look for those answers. But when you see it, you said, oh my God, that teacher was screaming so loud that answer that I'm not gonna forget about it. That understood? Because that's what
So the diaphragm, we can control the
respiration.
It's the muscle.
The respiration. When we breathe, it's because this muscle, see? This muscle pushes up because my lungs fills in with blood, but this muscle goes up. When I exhale, get the air out, my diaphragm goes down. But if the muscle is paralyzed, I'm not gonna be able to do anything. So my muscle is paralyzed, I cannot breathe. Not even normally breathing, like breathing at rest. I'm right here, but my muscle is not functioning. I don't see it, but if I take a deep breath, I'm gonna feel it. But if I don't, it is still moving when I breathe in and out. But if it's paralyzed, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Therefore, I'm gonna have problems right there. So that's basically what it is.